I am your host, Rabina Rastavan, aka the Realist Astrologer, and I am doing the free readings for this month. And I decided to do it via Zoom conferencing just to change it up a little bit. And I want this time around, I'm going to share my screen so you can see the charts and all that. And also, it's going to be kind of different because I'm going to be combining some free readings into one video. So I think I'm going to do about 5 readings in this video. So if you've placed a request for a free reading, you're going to want to look at this entire video because you might be in this. Okay, so let me share my screen and I'm going to pull up the first chart. Okay, so this first person, her name is Mahogany. And Mahogany, I'm sorry, I don't think I asked you if you wanted to be kept anonymous or not. So if you did, I apologize. But I'm familiar with Mahogany's chart because I've done some readings for her in the past. I've even done a synastry for her. So here's her email that she sent me. Hello, Miss Rabina. I just wanted to know if you will consider me for your August free reading. As I get older, my feelings are becoming more off and on. I have been with my boyfriend for 5 years, and my feelings for him are strange. I could be deeply in love at 3 p.m. and not give a fuck at 6 p.m. Now, I have to admit, I was cracking up when I read this part because I was like, that's very Gemini. So next sentence, you do acknowledge that you're a Gemini. So you said, I know I am a Gemini, but I am not two-faced. And there's a reason for that as well. So I'll put to that in a minute. I genuinely did feel that deep love a few hours ago. I hide this. I can be extremely attached and then feel nothing. Am I bipolar? This is mostly just in my romantic relationships. You said that I would meet a guy in May or June that would be intense and tempting for me. I did, and I still cannot stop thinking about him. I am rarely, maybe 2 times in life, sexually attracted to anyone. But I just wanted to take his clothes off when I first saw him. We had an interesting night. I met him in Vegas and lost his number, so I could not be tempted to get back in contact with him. I have always wanted to cheat on my partners, but something always holds me back, but I push the line of what is cheating as I age. I was cracking up at this part too, because she was like, I always wanted to cheat on my partners, but something always holds me back. Am I destined to become a cheater? I was cracking up at this question too. Now, I'm not making light of your situation. I just think it's just funny, these questions, because you don't get this, you don't get this on an average day when it comes to people asking questions. So again, you ask, am I destined to become a cheater? Will this pass? And is it just the partner that I am with that is making this stronger? Okay, so let's go to your chart. So like I always say, you got to go to the nodes to determine why you are the way you are. And in particular, the South Node. So your North Node is at the 25th degree of Gemini. It's in the 12th house. Your South Node is at the 25th degree of Sagittarius. It's in your 6th house. It's conjoined to Neptune. So that is a big part of your problem right there, because what that does is it does give you the temptation to cheat, because it's like you will fantasize and all that stuff, but then you don't, because this Neptune influence on your South Node can produce overwhelming feelings of guilt. And this stems from your past life. So in a past life, I'm thinking that you were some type of nun, like you were in a convent in one of your past lives. So this would speak to your Neptune and Sagittarius conjoined to your Sagittarius South Node. So you could have lived in a convent, you could have been a nun, you could have basically taken a vow of celibacy. However, you still could have fantasized about some of those priests every now and then, or whoever was coming into the convent or whatever like that. So you could have even engaged in some secret affairs while being a nun. But then when you were done with doing the do, you were left feeling this overwhelming sense of guilt. So basically, then you started to do this penance, and you started to pray for forgiveness and all this stuff. So that South Node in Sagittarius can point to a past life where you were under a heavy religious influence and where you were very pious. And the fact that I say pious because your South Node's in the 6th house. So that's a big problem with respect to how you live your life in your current lifetime, especially with respect to your romantic relationships, like you mentioned. Now, in this current lifetime, you don't have to live a life where you have to adhere to these strict morals and ethics. So you do have much more leeway in this current lifetime than you do in previous lifetimes. And you can see that with respect to your Mars being conjoined to your Sun and Gemini. That right there is a perfect recipe for dating two men at the same time or more than two. Basically, where you're leaving your options open and where you're not really committed to anyone. So the relationship that you're in right now, that explains why you have these temptations to cheat. But then again, like I said, because of that Neptune on your South Node in the sixth house, you will pull yourself back because you don't want to be left with this feeling of guilt. You don't want to have to be left feeling like you have to pay penitence to your lover or to God or to whatever like that. Now, the thing is, I mentioned God and religion. That doesn't mean that you're religious in this lifetime, but you are still carrying over that energy from past lives of being ultra religious, being very pious, and basically where your freedom was largely restricted because of your faith, because of your spirituality. So in this lifetime, you do need to basically branch out and make yourself available to other men aside from your boyfriend. And basically you need to have a conversation with your boyfriend that, from time to time you might have an urge to entertain other men outside of this relationship. That is if you really want to live according to your truth. Because living according to your truth in this lifetime, you really will be very much about leaving things open, not making firm commitments with anyone, and being very flexible in terms of relationships, including romance. Now, you also asked, were you bipolar? Now, you do have your moon and square to both Pluto and Saturn and Libra, and that can produce bipolar like tendencies, but it doesn't mean that for sure you're bipolar. It just means that you have a tendency to go to extremes. That moon square Saturn in particular is also what keeps you from going full on with cheating. So you said, am I destined to become a cheater? I'm going to say it depends, because if you want to live your life according to your past life dictates, according to that past life framework, you will end up becoming a cheater. But if you live according to the dictates of your North Node in Gemini, then you can basically be very open about who you are, about what you need in a relationship. And like I said, start dating more than one guy. Keep your options open. And that way you don't have to become a cheater. But being a cheater is like an allure for you. Again, going back to that Neptune conjoined to the South Node. And also you got Venus square Pluto, which is one of the most common cheater aspects. So that right there, that aspect alone, combined with Neptune conjoined to the South Node, combined with that 12th house North Node, that can point to, yes, you're destined to become a cheater. But like I said, that's only if you continue to basically suppress your true nature and suppress the fact that you do need to be very flexible and not make firm commitments to anyone, not be in these monogamous relationships where you're going to feel the need, you're going to be visited by those urges to cheat. But then again, like I said, you're attracted to the allure of cheating, that whole thing, because of your past life. And like I said, you think about being a nun and how you would sneak around and have sex with these priests. And trust me, it goes on. There was this convent in Italy a few years ago where they dug up all these dead babies, skeletons of babies, and they basically determined that these nuns were getting pregnant by the priests, and then they would have abortions in-house in the convent, and then they would just bury the baby. So yes, it goes on with in convents and monasteries and all that stuff. Even though people claim to take a vow of celibacy, the flesh is weak. So you could look at it that way. But being a nun in a past life, you got off on that sneaking around, that allure, having that passionate, secret, romantic affair and all that stuff. That's that Neptune conjoined to your Sagittarius South Node. So it's like you still are going to have that feeling, like, because it's going to make you feel good. But then at the end, once you get done cheating, you're going to be filled with these feelings of guilt. So to prevent all that, live according to your truth and be one of those people that are either going to be in an open relationship or where you're just not going to be committed to any one man. And I would say that it is your partner in particular that's making this stronger right now. So depending on who you are with, it can be stronger at times. So I forget his birth date. Let me see if because I have a whole thread of emails from you. Yeah, I don't have his birth date, but anyway. But basically, that's that. So let me know what you think. You can leave a question in the comments section, or you can send me an email with your questions. But hopefully, I was able to provide some insight and guidance for you. So let me move on to the next person. This one is an interesting one. This one is from Tamika, and she sent me an email. So let me just pull up her chart. Now, Tamika wrote me, she said, I am a Sagittarius born 12/4/1974. I am 43 years old. I am looking to some things career-wise. I am an empty nester. I would like to apply to become a flight attendant. Then also I have aspirations of finally completing my master's degree in mental health. I don't want the student debt, but I think it fits me personally wise. Should I go for flight attendant or schooling in a year or so from now? Now I have to stop myself because I have to go back to Mahogany. So Mahogany, I forgot to mention, I did pull some cards regarding your question about, are you destined to be a cheater? So the cards that I have is the Hermit. This deals with that Neptune conjoined to your South Node in Sagittarius. Basically, this points to at certain times you are going to be looking for an outlet. You're going to be looking for an opportunity to cheat. Here's your challenge, Nine of Pentacles. This is about basically being secure within yourself, and you're not really secure within yourself because you're going through these conflicts regarding your relationship. This also means that, you know, you're not really about being firmly committed to one man, because this is a card of independence. So this shows that you need to be independent. Here is the advice. This is the King of Swords. The King of Swords is basically that Gemini North Node. So again, like I said, don't make firm commitments to any one man and be very flexible. Keep your options open. And here, outcome, Three of Swords. This is an open relationship all day, love triangle. Also, again, where you're seeing more than one person. So I apologize, Tamika, but because I'm going to pull some cards for you, Tamika. So I apologize about cutting in with like that, but Mahogany, I did want to talk about that because I forgot that I pulled some cards. So Tamika, back to you. So you said that you would like to apply to become a flight attendant, and I was like, oh, that's so good. I was like, oh, that's so adventurous and all that stuff. I was like, that's so Sagittarius. But then I thought about it, and when I was looking at your chart, I was like, hold up now. I was like, that's a bit too much Sagittarius energy for you to be a flight attendant and be comfortable with it and to be happy. So, and the reason why I say that is because while flight attendant is very much Sagittarius because you get to travel all over, you get to travel for free because you get the perks of being a flight attendant. So it's kind of like an exotic position and all that stuff. But if you really think about it, being a flight attendant is not conducive to Sagittarius spirit because Sagittarius needs to be free, number one. And being a flight attendant, you're not going to be able to be free. You're going to be basically having to follow the dictates of the FAA, the airline, and TSA and all that crap. So you're going to be subject to a lot of regulations and stuff. And Sagittarius doesn't really do well with that. Also, being on a plane, that's cramped space. Like you're in a real cramped, tight space, which isn't good for Sagittarius either. Now, I'm a Sagittarius, and I'm telling you, like, the whole allure of travel, that's why when I first read your email and you were like, flight attendant, I was like, oh. So the whole allure of travel and even like flight attendant, it is kind of attractive because it's like adventurous. But when you really think about it as a Sagittarius, it's like, hold up. I'm going to be trapped on this plane for 5, 6, 7, maybe even more hours if I'm doing international flights. And I'm going to have to deal with crying babies and unruly passengers and all types of crazy stuff. basically what I'm saying is you're not built for being a flight attendant. So I'm going to just get that out of the way right now. Now, I'm saying that based upon what I see in your chart. Again, you have all this Sagittarius energy, which could make you drawn to a career like that, because mainly because of the travel factor and the allure of where it's like an exotic position and you're not having to be subject to a 9 to 5 and all that. But with your North Node conjoined to your Sun, that is like reinforcing that Sagittarius energy big time, hardcore. And trust me, being a Sag myself, I'm telling you, you might be cool with it for like the first month or so, but after a while, the shit's going to get old really quick, especially when you find yourself having to travel to places you don't even want to be in and having to spend nights in hotels by yourself and just where it's like you don't have much to do and all that stuff. After a while, the benefits of being a flight attendant are going to wear thin. Now, so you said you were thinking about also going for your master's degree in mental health. Now, before I get into that, let me just pull some cards to see what the cards have to say about this flight attendant position. Should you apply to be a flight attendant? Okay. So the first card is Knight of Coins. Knight of Pentacles, you could say this is employment right here. Here's your challenge, Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups is, you can basically look at it as, yeah, this is something that you're interested in, but you can quickly lose your interest. It can also point to having to move around too much where you're not stable and where you can't really pin anything down anymore because you're constantly going from this city to that city. So it's like, it's going to also be hard for relationships and all that stuff. So if you want to be in a relationship, you got to think about that as well. You can also look at this as a change of heart. So, and you have that hookup with you because your South Node's in Gemini. So you're liable to change up on a moment's notice. Like I said, so one minute you're digging the flight attendant gig. Next minute, while you're in mid-flight, you're like, you know what? This shit is for the birds. This ain't for me. I'm out. But you can't be out because you're in mid-flight. You're 30,000 feet up in the air. And then next thing you know, you're having a nervous breakdown. Look at this. This right here, this Ten of Swords is a clear no. So just like I saw in your chart, the answer is no for the flight attendant because, again, this is an extreme decision. It's an extreme option. And again, like I said, you're not cut out for it. This is where after a while, like I said, the benefits are going to be wearing thin. And this is a Gemini card. So this points to that South Node in Gemini. Like you're going to wake up one day while you're in mid-flight probably and determine this is not for me. Get me the hell up out of here. And here's the outcome, the Magician. So basically this is showing that you can be more effective in other ways. And this is showing that you can actually get some type of specialty. You can become an expert. And being a flight attendant, you're not being an expert at nothing. Like that flight attendant gig, basically, like I said, I feel like you're interested in that more so for the benefits that it can provide more so than anything else. So now some of the factors that point to where you would be good in terms of the mental health field and where you should get your master's degree. Your North Node's in Sagittarius, which means that in this lifetime, you do need higher education. And that very well could be in the form of college and university degrees. So going for your master's degree is a step in the right direction, especially if you feel that it will pay off in the long run. You also have Mercury conjoined to Neptune, which is great for the field of mental health. You got Mars and Scorpio in the 12th house, which is, oh, well, wait a minute. You didn't give me your birth time. So I can't say the houses, but your Mars and Scorpio alone is good for the field of mental health. Also, you have, let me see what else. Your moon is in trine to Chiron. That's good for the field of mental health because that makes you a healer in some type of way, especially dealing with women and also dealing with like families. Your sun is conjoined to Venus, which is good for being a counselor, being an advisor. Also, like, that's good for social work positions and stuff like that. Your Neptune is conjoined to your North Node, and that right there reinforces the theme of mental health. So you definitely should go out for the mental health master's degree, in my opinion, as opposed to flight attendant. So let me know what you think. You can post a comment. If you have any questions, you can send me an email. So hopefully I was able to provide some insight and guidance for you in that direction. Okay, I might just do two more. Next one is going to be Roxie. So let me just pull up your chart. All right, Roxie. Roxie was born April 30th, 1994, 1:45 p.m., Kingston, Jamaica. So Roxie says, Roxie has been a loyal subscriber for quite a while with me. So, I definitely, wanted to do this for her. She says, hi, Rabina. I would like to know if you could do a video reading for me dealing with my chart like you did for the celebrities. My question is, why is it that people around me are always jealous of me? For whatever reason, I don't know. My birthday is April 30th, 1994. I was born in Savannah, Lamar, Westmoreland, Jamaica at 1:45 p.m. I just put Kingston. Please do this video for me. Thank you. Okay, so I immediately went to that North Node conjoined to Pluto and Scorpio. But also you could look at this Jupiter and Scorpio as well. This whole stellium and Scorpio in your third house. You got Scorpio on the third. This hookup right here could just naturally cause you to attract haters, people who are jealous of you. Your North Node in Scorpio primes you to attract haters in this lifetime. So don't be surprised if you do. And you said you already encountered that. So, but because this energy is in your third house, you got to check yourself in terms of the way you communicate with others, especially because you got that Sun and Mercury in Taurus, and you got your South Node in Taurus in the ninth house. So sometimes you might come across as a little pompous, a little, like you're better than other people, or you might feel like, okay, if somebody's standards doesn't gel with yours, you're going to tell them about it. You might also talk about what you have a bit too much, or what you've accomplished, or what you've gained, or how much money you make and stuff like that. So again, when it comes to people being jealous of you, you have to ask, okay, what am I doing to contribute to people being jealous of me? Because I'm definitely seeing where it's not just coming out of nowhere. It looks like it's coming out of the manner in which you communicate. So my solution to you is start keeping a lot of things to yourself. There's this saying where it says, don't cast pearls before swine. I love that saying. So that basically means don't share certain information with people who are undeserving of it. Now, to basically get your point across in a way where you're going to be appreciated for what you have to say, create some type of group, some type of social media group, some Facebook group or something like that. And that way you can have a platform to, share some of your ideas and thoughts and things like that. And that way you'll attract people who do value what you have to say. So that's my answer for you. Let me know what you think in the comment section, or you can send me an email with your feedback and with any other questions you have. Moving along. Okay, let's see. My bad. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. This is the last one I'm going to do, but I'll probably do some more tomorrow. Now I'm looking to see if she wanted me to keep her name anonymous, and I don't see that. So, Shawna, here you go. So Shawna wrote to me, and she said that I've done some research, and according to one site, it says it's not recommended that I have a partner. Now, I see why they said that. Well, I think I see why, because you do have Chiron in your seventh house. It's in quincunx to Neptune. But that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to have any type of partnership or partner. It just means that it could be unconventional. So I don't necessarily agree with that one site said. They should have provided some way out or some type of alternative solution. So you said, I'm wondering Is that a relationship partner or a business partner? I'm 37, single, no kids, and never had a serious relationship, just situationships, which is very much that Chiron in the seventh house, situationships. I've dated men and women, neither one works out or goes for the long run. I'm just beginning to appreciate who I am alone, but I would like a partner. Did I do something in a past life to be single in this life? I don't know if you're into hearing words from spirit. I understand why I don't want kids in this life. It's because it was revealed to me in meditation that I suffered miscarriages and death of a child in my past life. I always wondered why I never felt an urge to have children in this life. That's that Pisces on your fifth house cusp out all day with Neptune in quincunx to your moon and Chiron. So that's why you never had an urge to have children. And for a good reason, because if you do have children, they could come out with special needs, or you could end up having a miscarriage. So that's very true. You also said, plus they're too expensive. That deals with your moon and Taurus conjoined to Chiron and quincunx to your Neptune in the second house. So you said, I still feel maybe it's my destiny to be single also. Now, I don't feel it's your destiny to be totally single, but definitely to be in an alternative, unconventional type of relationship. I could definitely tell you that much. Now, you said, did I do something in a past life to be single in this lifetime? And I say yes. And that is because you have your South Node at the third degree of Aquarius in your third house. So that deals with your mindset with respect to dealing with people, in particular your friends and associates. Basically, you took people for granted and people were very interchangeable. So you really didn't place any high value or even priority upon certain people. So if you lost one friend, you just gained another, and it was like nothing was lost. So in this lifetime, you'll attract people in your life who aren't really fully loyal to you, or they're not fully available to you, or they're not fully on board with you. And that's because you weren't like that in past lives. You were very much indifferent when it came to dealing with people. You really didn't have any preference, I'll say even. So with your North Node at the third degree of Leo, you are supposed to experience a lot of romance in this lifetime, a lot of good sex. You're supposed to travel a lot. You're supposed to have a life of adventure, a lot of passion, all of that stuff. But it's going to come in doses. It's not like you're going to get it all in one shot. So it could be more so like about romantic getaways. And I think you did say you deal better with, hold on, were you the one who said that? No, that's not you. That was somebody else. But basically, you could probably do better in long distance relationships where you go travel to see somebody maybe once a month. They travel to see you. You also do better in lesbian relationships than you do heterosexual relationships. And the main reason for that is your sun is in the eighth house. It's in square to Saturn. Also, you got Mars in the eighth house in Gemini, and it's opposing Neptune. It also is in semi-square with your Venus. So with that hookup, basically, if you want to be with a man, you got to be willing to share him with other women. So you do much better in a lesbian relationship. But again, you got to be very selective when it comes to those lesbians that you get with as well. But you can have a very fulfilling relationship, especially with a woman, once you understand that it's not going to be some full-fledged, long-term commitment where everything is normal. Basically, you got to be about that passion, that excitement, and know that when it comes to romance, romances will come to an end. Ask any married couple. Most married couples, usually the romance dies at some point and the sex starts to suffer, or they'll just get into this routine where it's like the passion kind of dies. But with your hookup, you're supposed to keep the passion alive. Also, I say with the women, where you would do better with women and where it's in your destiny, and that's why you've been with women already, is you have Venus and Cancer conjoined to your North Node. It's at the 28th degree, which reinforces the theme of travel as well. So definitely the next chick you get with, if you are still open to dating women, she could live far away from you, but that would make things even more exciting. It would make things even more passionate because you are supposed to be going on these romantic rendezvous and having a great time and all that stuff. And then you come back home, and then things are supposed to basically return to normal and stuff, and you just carry on with your business. But at the same time, the two of you are going to have a very strong connection in terms of communication as well. So that's that. Let me know what you think. Let me see if I answered your question. So yeah, I answered your question. Did you do something in a past life to be single? Also know that that South Node in Aquarius makes you very much independent, but it also makes you very group oriented at the same time. And also where you make a better friend than you do lover. But in this lifetime, you do have to become more of a lover. So you got to open yourself up to love, even if you're taking a risk of getting hurt. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about romance. We're not talking about you living with somebody for the rest of your life. So if the romance dies, which it will, because you go look at that North Node in Leo at the 3rd degree, because joining Venus as a honeymoon period. Like you're going to have a series of honeymoon periods with people. So basically, that's your best option. So let me know what you think. You could post a comment. You can leave me a question. You can send me a question to my email as well. So hopefully I was able to provide some guidance and insight to you. Okay, I got time for one more. Okay, I think I'm going to do this one. And then, like I said, I might do some more tomorrow. And I'm pulling up this chart. I do have to thank everybody who attended my numerology workshop. It was called Practical Numerology for Self-Improvement and Empowerment. It was amazing. It produced some amazing results. I got some really good feedback from my participants, and I had a ball. And it lasted pretty long, and I actually had to do a part 2, a day 2. So I think going forward, my workshops might be some of my workshops might be 2 days long. Shout out to Masaki because he also recommended that too. Matter of fact, when I did my first numerology workshop a couple of years ago, it was a 2-day workshop. I think it was a 2-part workshop. But yeah, so my next workshop I think I'll be holding in October. So stay tuned for that. So the last reading I'll be doing today is for Mimi. Oh shoot, I forgot. Okay. I forgot about someone else. So I'm going to do her too, because I promised I would do her. And if my memory serves me correctly, she wants me to keep her name anonymous. So I'm going to have to pull up your email, but I'll do you too. Now your questions are very simplified, so it won't be long. Now for Mimi, let me just read what Mimi wrote. She said, my question, or should I say what I'm trying to get clarification on, why do I have issues with keeping people in my life, period? I become friends with someone and later they start to act funny and dismiss themselves. This doesn't just happen with my friendship, same pattern in relationships with men. Overall, I'm never good enough. I'm the true definition of a loyal individual, yet I'm the true definition of a loner. That loner is your Mars in Capricorn. It's your Venus opposition Neptune in Capricorn. It's your Sun opposition Saturn, Mercury opposition Saturn. So yeah, you got strong loner traits in your chart. And you said you're a true definition of a loner, and that's not by choice, but by circumstances. Perhaps you could pinpoint some reasoning for this. So yes, there's a perfect reasoning for this. And again, you got to go back to your South Node. With your South Node in Libra, you're not supposed to place a lot of dependence upon others in this lifetime. You're not supposed to place a lot of emphasis upon being in relationships, which is why people will tend to switch up on you. So all these aspects in your chart, especially this Gemini stellium you have, points to people switching up on you. Now, the underlying reason is the fact that your South Node in Libra is conjoined to Pluto, and that Pluto can deal with where your relationships are just, you have these relationships, but then they're always going to come to an end. Like there's always this expiration date, and that's that Pluto influence. And that's because you were used to having partners in past lives that would either just die on you, or they would just desert you, or just leave you, reject you. And you could say that in a past life, you could have been that way as well. But I see it more so where you were dealing with people that, basically you weren't aware of what they were really working with beneath the surface. And then you get into a relationship with them, you get married. Next thing you know, they desert you, they reject you, or they die on you. So that's why you are in these situations where people will just switch up on you. They will dismiss themselves, all types of stuff. So you got to move away from that whole South Node framework. And the best way to do that is to not place so much emphasis on being in relationships with people. Keep things light and breezy, and be very much about yourself. Put yourself first. Exercise self-preservation. It's good that these people aren't clinging to you, because then you would be losing sight of yourself, which is not what you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. Now, part of the problem is your South Node's at the 28th degree, and that makes you very much about being part of some type of group, or where it also makes you very easily influenced by others. So again, it helps that these people are being dismissed out of your life, or they're dismissing themselves because of that 28th degree combined with that Pluto. You could easily be taken under by the wrong type of people and lose yourself in the process. So I hope that makes sense to you. Let me know what you think. You can send me an email with any questions you have, all that good stuff. And then last but not least, I promised one female that I would do a free reading for her, because her birthday was back on July, because she contacted me around her birthday, and her birthday is July 14th. Now she wanted me, I'm sorry, August 14th. She wanted me to keep her identity anonymous. So I'm calling you Hello Kitty, Kalia. Now I have to pull up, damn, I got to pull up the email. Hold on. But I know one of your questions was, will you be a millionaire? So let me just look at that right now. But I pull up the email to see what your other question was. So you said, will I be a millionaire? Now you do have some nice aspects in your chart that could result in you gaining some wealth in life, which is interesting. So you have Saturn trine Jupiter in Scorpio in the second house. That can produce a millionaire. That is a millionaire aspect, especially through investments, but also you could look at that through perhaps older men. Also, perhaps, I don't know how you are in terms of your family, but that could also be an inheritance from your father. Maybe not in $1 million inheritance, but maybe it's enough for you to invest in the stock market or invest in some type of business that can result in becoming a millionaire. But that Scorpio energy in your second house, that's good for gaining money through others. It's good for gaining money through marriage. It's good for gaining money through an inheritance. It's also good for gaining money through a business where you are collaborating with others. It's good for getting money through licensing and things like that, like passive income, residual income, all that stuff. It's good for getting money from the sale of property. You got the moon conjoined to Pluto in Scorpio in the second house, so you might make your millions through real estate investments. But this money is not going to come without you putting in some work. I could definitely tell you that. Again, because you got Saturn in trine to your Jupiter. So if it's not coming from your father, it needs to come from a business that you own and operate. So I would suggest you get started on that now, because time doesn't wait forever, or time waits for no one. Okay, let me see. I got the email. So you said, will I become a millionaire later on in life? Now, again, you could marry up and be a millionaire that way, but you might be very unhappy. You got Aries on your 7th, Mars in Gemini. So that can deal with a partner where he's not fully committed to you. He got another lover, or he got a chick on the side or something like that. Mars in Gemini, quincunx moon, that reinforces what I said about having a husband that is cheating all over you, where he got a mainstay woman. Like this woman ain't going nowhere. And also he may rarely be home. But if he is a millionaire, that makes a lot of sense, because millionaires are about business. And even the ones where the money is, they're making money, the money is working for them. A lot of times they're still going to be out in the world making deals and handling things. So you said, oh, you got 3 questions. Will I be happy and successful concerning my definition based on my chart? Concerning your definition. Now the happiness part, that's like, because it's like happiness comes from within. So with your situation, you want to look at the 5th house. for happiness. You can also look at the sun and, the condition of the sun. Now, your sun is in Leo, which can make you naturally a happy person, but your sun is badly afflicted. So depending upon the circumstances that you encounter in life, you could end up being a very unhappy individual. Uranus rules your fifth house. It's in Capricorn, which can make you prone to depression at times. Saturn also rules your fifth. It's in Pisces, and that can cause you to be unhappy as well, because that can lead to constant disappointment because your expectations are too high. Question 3. Will I be able to take care of my family, mother, sister, and children, brother and father, because this is what I wish to do. Then eventually have my own. So with your moon conjoined to Pluto in Scorpio in the second house, in sextile to Neptune and Uranus in the fourth, yes, you will eventually be able to take care of your family. So I think that's very admirable on your part. And also it says then eventually have my own. So having your own, again, yes, you can, but it could be some challenges because you got Aquarius on your fifth. Uranus is in Capricorn in your fourth. It's in quincunx to your sun. Neptune's in quincunx to your sun. That can produce a miscarriage. It can also produce a child that has special needs. It can also produce a situation where you don't have your own children, but your husband has children and you become a step mother. Moon in Scorpio conjoined to Pluto reinforces what I said about becoming a stepmother, or perhaps some type of quasi-surrogate mother, or where you're taking care of someone else's children, maybe one of your siblings' children, what have you. So having your own children will be one of the main challenges you experience in life. I'm not saying it's not possible, but that is where you are going to encounter some challenges. But to answer that third question, yes, you will be able to take care of your family. Very much so. So if you have any questions about that, you can send me an email. And if anybody would like a free reading for the month of September, for next month, you can send me an email. I've already got a lot for September already, or you could leave your birth details along with a question in the comment section. So I might just pick you. And I'm gonna, like, ever since I think maybe May, I started to do more than one free reading per month. So I'm gonna try to do like a handful. So anywhere between 3 and 5 per month I'll be doing. So, just because you don't get picked on one particular month, try again, because I might pick you in a following month. So if you would like a reading, an in-depth reading, you could go to my website at rabina.com. Peace and many blessings. And let me just stop sharing my screen and then close out. And like I said, more than likely I'll be back tomorrow with part 2 of the free readings. Peace and many blessings.